Have you ever wondered why some men seem to effortlessly attract women, almost like they have some secret code, while others try everything, looks, money, charm, even constant attention, and still fail? You've probably seen it happen. That guy who barely tries somehow gets noticed, while the nicest, most hardworking men get overlooked. It doesn't make sense, at least not on the surface. But what if I told you that Harvard actually studied over 10,000 women to uncover the hidden mechanics of attraction? They weren't studying just looks or wealth. They were studying psychology, desire, and the subtle behaviors that make a man irresistible without him even trying. And what they discovered is shocking, a truth so counterintuitive that it completely flips what most men think about love, attraction, and connection. This isn't about tricks, manipulation, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding what women unconsciously respond to, and how tiny shifts in your behavior, presence, and mindset can create a magnetic pull that feels almost unstoppable. In this video, we're going to reveal that dark truth. By the end, you'll understand why most men fail without even realizing it, and how you can finally start attracting women naturally, without chasing, over-explaining, or trying to win their attention. And here's the best part. This isn't theory. These are real insights from real research. And once you understand them, you'll start seeing attraction in a completely new way. You'll notice patterns, reactions, and behaviors in women that were invisible to you before. And it will give you an edge most men will never have. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and watch till the very end. Because what you're about to learn doesn't just help with dating, it can transform the way women see you, how you interact with them, and even how you feel about yourself. So stay with me, because once you grasp this, you'll never look at attraction the same way again. Section 1. Setting the stage. Harvard University, one of the most prestigious and respected institutions in the world, didn't conduct this massive study to help men pick up women or to create a dating guide. No, their goal was far deeper. They wanted to understand human behavior at its core. They wanted to know what really goes on inside a woman's mind when she feels drawn to a man, what triggers desire, and why certain men ignite passion while others are ignored, even if they check all the boxes society says should matter. To uncover these truths, Harvard surveyed over 10,000 women from every walk of life, different ages, cultures, and backgrounds. They asked detailed questions about relationships, attraction patterns, emotional responses, and even moments when women found themselves drawn to men despite knowing it made no sense logically. Think about that for a second. The women themselves couldn't fully explain why they were attracted, and yet their behaviors revealed a consistent pattern. And here's where it gets fascinating, and honestly a little shocking. What the researchers discovered was not what most men expect. It wasn't about money, status, or even physical appearance. Sure, those things might open the door or act as a surface-level filter, but attraction doesn't actually start there. Most men have been taught that if they get a good job, hit the gym, and dress well, women will automatically be attracted. Harvard's study proves this is only part of the story. Those things matter in the way that they signal basic value, but they are far from the full picture. The real force behind attraction, the thing that makes a woman feel a spark she can't quite explain, is invisible, subtle, and psychological. It's woven into how a man moves, reacts, and exists in the world. It's about presence, energy, and behavior that taps into her subconscious desire. And here's the kicker. Most men completely ignore it. They focus on the wrong things, like trying to impress with money, compliments, or status symbols, while the thing that truly drives desire passes right under their noses. This invisible force is so powerful that it can create attraction instantly. Even when a man isn't conventionally attractive or wealthy, it can make a woman notice, feel curiosity, and even desire a man without her rational mind knowing why. And when you understand it, you'll realize that attraction isn't about trying harder. It's about being different in the ways that matter most. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what Harvard uncovered, why most men fail without even realizing it, and how you can use this knowledge to naturally become the kind of man women are drawn to without chasing, begging, or overcompensating. Section 2. The Dark Truth. The Harvard study revealed a dark truth about attraction, one that most men never understand. Women are unconsciously drawn to men who are emotionally unpredictable, but in the right ways. Think about it for a moment. How often have you seen women light up around a man who doesn't seem perfect on paper? He might not be the richest, the tallest, or the most handsome, but there's something about him that captivates her attention? Or why do certain men seem to disappear for a while, only to pull women back in as if by magic? According to Harvard, this isn't coincidence. It's psychology. Women are wired to respond to emotional contrasts, moments of strength and independence paired with moments of vulnerability and authenticity. When a man can show he is secure in himself but still capable of genuine emotion, it creates an invisible pull, a tension that women instinctively feel. Here's the problem. Most men get this completely wrong. They try to be overly nice, always available, always predictable. They think that constant attention, agreement, and reassurance will make a woman feel attracted. But the opposite happens. Women lose interest, often without even realizing why. Why does this happen? Because predictability kills emotional tension, and emotional tension is the engine of desire. When a man is predictable, he becomes invisible in her mind. There's no spark, no push, no pull. And attraction, at its core, is not about comfort, it's about engagement, curiosity, and the thrill of not fully knowing what to expect. So the dark truth is this: women don't always know why they're attracted, and the things men usually focus on, money, compliments, or looks, are rarely the real drivers of desire. Understanding this changes everything about how you approach dating and relationships. Section 3. The 3 key factors women react to. Harvard's research didn't just stop at the dark truth. They identified 3 core psychological factors that consistently drive women's desire. These aren't tricks or manipulation, they are deep, subconscious signals that make a man irresistible. 1. Confidence without arrogance. Women are naturally drawn to men who are grounded, secure and calm, but not show-offs. This isn't about flaunting wealth, bragging about achievements, or trying to impress everyone around you. It's about self-possession. A man who knows who he is, doesn't chase validation, and stays composed in any situation, creates a magnetic energy that women feel instinctively. This confidence is quiet yet powerful. It tells her, without words, that this man can handle life, handle himself, and handle a relationship. 2. Emotional depth. Women notice subtle emotional signals. How a man reacts to stress, disappointment, or joy tells them far more about who he is than words ever could. A man who suppresses emotions entirely appears cold and unapproachable. A man who is overly expressive or needy triggers discomfort or anxiety. The balance, the ability to express genuine emotion at the right time, is what creates intrigue and connection. Emotional depth signals that a man is authentic, aware, and capable of intimacy, and that is far more attractive than surface-level charm. 3. Autonomy and mystery. This factor is the hardest for most men to accept. Women are drawn to men who have their own lives, passions, and ambitions. A man who disappears for a few hours to focus on his work, hobbies, or friendships isn't being distant or disinterested, he's being irresistible. He shows that his life doesn't revolve around constant attention or validation, which subconsciously communicates value, stability, and self-respect. Mystery isn't about secrecy. It's about having layers to yourself that she discovers gradually, keeping curiosity and attraction alive. When these 3 factors combine, confidence, emotional depth, and autonomy, they create an invisible pull that money, looks, or charm alone cannot generate. Women feel it instinctively, often without realizing why. Section 4. Why nice guys often lose. Let's be honest. Most men are shocked when they hear this. They've been taught that being nice, attentive, and always available is the path to winning attraction. But Harvard's research proves otherwise. This approach often backfires. Here's why. Women don't want someone who is predictable and always agreeable. Predictability signals low challenge and low emotional investment. When a man is always nice, always present, always agreeable, there's nothing for her mind to engage with. There's no spark, no tension, no mystery. Nice guys often lack emotional contrast. They are one-dimensional. They don't create moments of excitement, curiosity, or tension. And women sense this, even subconsciously. That invisible energy matters far more than words or gestures. What women crave is a man who can hold space for himself, who can disappear without panic, and who can return on his own terms. This is what creates longing, intrigue, and genuine desire. In other words, attraction isn't about being good or trying to impress. It's about being psychologically engaging, creating a presence that commands attention, respect, and curiosity. When a man masters these subtle dynamics, he becomes magnetic in ways that no amount of money, compliments, or charm can replicate. Section 5. The subtle behaviors that trigger desire. Harvard. Researchers identified subtle behaviors that unconsciously trigger attraction. The art of emotional withholding. Not manipulation, simply not revealing everything immediately. Let her discover you. Let her curiosity grow. Calm detachment. Reacting calmly instead of panicking when tension arises signals. Emotional stability. Something women value more than confidence alone. Selective vulnerability. Sharing your emotions selectively creates a psychological bond. Vulnerability without overexposure is magnetic. Pursuit of purpose. Men who prioritize growth goals and self-improvement signal value without saying it. Playful challenge. Small challenges, teasing, and playful conflict create emotional tension, which fuels desire. Notice a pattern? It's not about doing grand gestures. It's about psychological finesse, subtlety, and presence. Section 6. Real-life examples. Let's make this real. Imagine two men. Man A texts constantly, replies immediately, compliments her nonstop, and never takes space for himself. Man B has his own life, doesn't over-communicate, occasionally teases her, and shares personal moments carefully. Who do you think Harvard found women are more likely to feel drawn to? It's man B every time. He has autonomy, mystery, and emotional contrast, the invisible hooks of desire. And here's the part most men miss. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need money or looks. You just need to master the psychology of attraction. Section 7. How to apply this in your life. So what does this mean for you? How do you use Harvard's findings to transform your dating life? Focus on yourself first. Build goals, hobbies, and friendships. Create a life women want to be part of, not the other way around. Master emotional contrast. Balance confidence with vulnerability. Be playful, challenging, and grounded. Learn the power of absence. Stop over-texting or chasing. Let curiosity and longing work for you. Be selectively vulnerable. Share your emotions, but not all at once. Let her earn your trust, not the other way around. Stay mysterious, not secretive. Reveal layers of yourself slowly. Curiosity fuels attraction far more than transparency. Section 8. The final dark twist. Here's the part that unsettles most men because it removes the illusion of control. Harvard's findings point to something deeply uncomfortable. Attraction often begins before understanding, long before logic steps in, long before a woman can articulate why she feels drawn to a man. The pull happens first. The explanation comes later, if it comes at all. This is why so many men lose without ever knowing what went wrong. They assume attraction is a rational process, that if they explain themselves clearly, show their intentions, prove their value, or justify their behavior, desire will increase. But the opposite is usually true. The moment you try to reason your way into her emotions, you reveal that you don't trust the emotional pull itself, and that kills it. Women don't feel desire because a man makes sense. They feel desire because something about him feels unresolved, unclaimed, slightly out of reach psychologically. Not confusing in a chaotic way, but opaque in a grounded way. A man whose inner world isn't immediately available for inspection. This is where attraction becomes dark, not immoral, but uncomfortable for the ego, because it means that trying to be fully understood too early is often a mistake. Explaining your depth, defending your actions, clarifying your intentions before they're asked for. These things feel honest, but they remove emotional gravity. Mystery isn't about hiding. It's about not collapsing your inner world into something easily digestible. Attraction thrives in emotional asymmetry. She feels before she knows. She senses before she understands. And once logic takes over too early, desire weakens. Not because she's cruel, but because emotion was replaced with certainty. This is why the most compelling men don't rush to define themselves. They let experience do the talking. They allow a woman to feel them before labeling them. They don't argue for their value or narrate their character. They exist calmly inside their own frame, and that presence quietly rearranges her psychological landscape. That's the real twist. Attraction isn't built by action alone. It's built by how your existence registers emotionally. And the moment you stop trying to be understood is often the moment you become unforgettable. Conclusion. So let's bring it all home. Because this is where most men finally get it. Harvard didn't uncover some magical pickup line or surface-level trick. What they revealed was uncomfortable for a lot of people. Because it strips away the fantasy that attraction is something you can force. It isn't built on looks alone. It isn't sustained by money. And it definitely isn't triggered by trying harder or saying the perfect thing. Attraction lives in contrast. It's the difference between a man who reacts and a man who chooses. Between someone who explains everything and someone who lets silence do the work. Women don't fall for availability. They fall for presence. They don't crave constant reassurance. They crave a man who is already rooted in himself. Autonomy is seductive because it signals self-trust. Mystery is powerful because it invites curiosity without begging for attention. And emotional tension isn't created by games. It's created by restraint, pacing, and discernment. A grounded man doesn't overshare to be liked. He doesn't chase to feel worthy. He doesn't collapse his life just to be chosen. Instead, he holds his space. He shares selectively. He lets connection unfold rather than forcing it into existence. And that calm, self-contained energy, it does something deep. It makes attraction feel earned, not negotiated. Master these principles and something shifts, not just in how women respond to you, but in how you move through the world. You stop seeking validation. You stop performing. You become steady. And steadiness is rare. That's when attraction stops feeling like luck and starts feeling inevitable. And with that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.